Oh, the guitar. That's dope. Hey everybody, welcome back. Time for another episode. Welcome to the Ultimate World Music Reaction Channel. My name is Rosalie. Today I'm exploring another song by the rock band Tool. I listened to them for the first time recently. I was familiar with them as in like I know of the band, I knew the name, but I didn't know of their music. So I checked out their song Sober for the first time. It was super interesting. Check that out if you're interested. Very in-depth lyrics, very odd and symbolic music video. Just a lot to take in. And but I enjoyed it. It was very especially the lyrics were very profound. Today I want to check out one of their songs. It is called Push It. This was a song request by one of my patrons. Shout out today goes to Colby Marks. Thank you for being an amazing ride or die, for supporting me, for just being awesome with your feedback and with your suggestions and being so patient with me. So I really appreciate you. This song was a request, Tool, Push It. I'm listening to the live version. It's going to be the audio because I was trying to find the best version to react to, and there's various ones out there, some that are, videos from the concert, live performances where the audio isn't ideal. And I'm going to be sipping my coffee over here. I feel like I'm fighting a cold or something. I feel exhausted these days, but I'm going to try to do my best to give you my all, and I'm happy that you're here. Let's dive in.
We've been trying something a little different this tour. We've been looking at one of our songs from a different angle, under a different light, so we can hopefully kind of see it almost for the first time. We'd like to try that for you tonight. Is that okay? We're gonna need your help, though. We need your help and your permission. So we need you to find a comfortable space that's not only comfortable, but vulnerable. I want you to shut your eyes and go there, and we'll meet you on the other side.
Smart effect. That's 4D experience. Suspense. Right from the get-go, it reminds me, just the way that he's singing and that vibe, of a band called Alt J, A-L-T-J, the letter J. Somehow there's something about that. I don't know if you guys know the band. They have some really neat music out. this. So is this like a variation of the original, of the way they usually sing this song? This is dope. You always will get my attention with some bongos, percussion, and different instruments like that. They're progressive metal, right? Hard rock and progressive metal.
Who am I to judge or strike you down? But you push it, and I'm shoving you, and you're pushing me, and I'm shoving you.
Interesting how the beat changed, which is really impressive because I don't know much about drummer skills or drumming, but I love a good drum solo and I love percussions and bongos and rhythm. But I feel like just the piece that I heard, it was interesting how the drum set, the rhythm changed and adjusted with it, with him singing. And that's impressive. Again, I don't know much about drumming, but the times that I've tried, it's just a lot of multitasking and you have to be really, I consider myself a rhythmic person because I dance, I sing, but with drums, I feel like you really have to be able to just do a whole lot at the same time for it to not turn into a whole mess. And I feel like that takes a lot of skill to be able to transition like that. And I think that speaks for the talent and the skill of the drummer to be able within the verse, the chorus, to shift like that with the flow of that song. That's one thing that I just thought. His vocals, the song itself right now is very much like very alternative. It's something that I feel like if you're a Tool fan, you can appreciate. If you're at a concert, if you're big into diving into lyrics, exploring things that are different, you know, even the imagery of this album cover with this body / skeleton, well, not really skeleton, it still has the muscles on it, and the light and the strings coming from the spine, where there's this shape of a somewhat of a triangle-ish thing, a lot of the black and white imagery, similar to what I saw in their music video Sober, just very eccentric, different, dark, but yet mysterious.
I feel like when you touch me.
love stuff like this. Oh, the guitar. That's dope. That's cool.
Put me somewhere I don't wanna be.
These guitar riffs and solos are dope.
Push me somewhere I don't wanna be. See in some place I don't wanna stay.
Okay, I gotta admit, okay, well, obviously, for one, because I'm not feeling 100% today, I'm tired and exhausted. After a while, I was like, what's happening here, right? There was not a lot of rapid dynamics. Like some songs, you got those 2.5, 3.5, 4 minute songs, and there's the verse, chorus, bridge. Something big happens in the second verse, and it's like, wow, it's easy to listen and react and comment. There's a lot of thoughts right away. But because this was a long song, I'm thankful I didn't give up because there was a lot of various elements that kept building. But because I'm not feeling 100% right after a while, it was like, this is not really my thing. I don't see myself sitting here listening to this for 13 minutes if it was just for me. Even the imagery, right, is a little odd. This male, this person, muscles, body from the back, again, those strings, just really artsy but odd. But then you listen to the lyrics and you really try to just explore what's happening here. Some of those minor notes I feel like really gave it more of that somber, sad, eerie vibe, which was fitting because the lyrics are pretty deep. I don't know what they meant with this song. I don't know. I am not going to research right now what some of the interpretations say. I'm just going to tell y'all what comes to my mind from personal experience and even just looking at it from a psychological standpoint. Again, applying personal experience and just general human behavior. But musically, I loved those guitar solos. I think that was fire. And I love how they changed. There was a lot of different dynamics going on. Different chord progressions, different riffs, just different elements, and that made it really neat to listen to. So I feel like if you are either into rock or you really love this band, or even if you're not into this band but you appreciate the art of music, I think there's things to find in there. Same with the drums, right? As I mentioned earlier, even the way that that the rhythms would transition mid rhythm, mid beat, it was really impressive, and different elements. From a vocal perspective, interesting, unique voice I feel like he has, and it was cool to see more and more as the song progressed. What his abilities were, how he can hold some of those high notes for a long time. And as a male singer, that's impressive anyways. Then you heard a little bit of that rasp and the scream a little later. Neat also how they started it with the echo, right? That element of we'll meet you on the other side, right? Giving it that 4D experience a little bit. Again, especially for people who are willing to just explore and dive deep and experience the music as a form of art, which to me, even the album work indicates that there's art at hand. This is not just some slapped together, I don't know, imagery, and then we're gonna sing boom bada bang, yeah, boom bada bang, yeah. Like nowadays there's some songs out there that either have very shallow lyrics, there's really no substance, or you can't understand the lyrics at all because it's just literally mumbledy bumbledy. But it's interesting. It's really interesting how deep and profound, and this is my second Tool song so far, how they go deep with topics. I saw the gap again today while you were begging me to stay. Take care not to make me enter. If I do, we both may disappear. Know that I will choke until I swallow. Choke this infant here before me. That part was weird to me, and I don't know what it means. And it's just like, what the heck are you talking about? What is this but my reflection? Who am I to judge or strike you down? Now, maybe, when it says choke this infant here before me, it's not referring to literally some weird, hurting children, baby thing, but more like the idea of what an infant represents, the beginning of something, the innocence of something, maybe that inner child, or that's that small thing that's growing. I'm not sure. What is this but my reflection? Who am I to judge or strike you down? So that part makes me wonder, because at first my mind went all places. It could be addiction, right? Because Sober was about addiction, and so my thought was maybe this is about that too, that fight with an addiction, right? This push and pull, this toxic thing that is destroying you, that is just creating this dynamic between begging to stay, having to push it away, disappearing. Just really very much something that is not life-giving, healthy, and thriving. Some distress, some turmoil. My second thought was some type of toxic relationship, right? When people are in a relationship where there is mental, physical, or emotional abuse, on that gap, right? There's this gap, this separation between two people, and one is begging the other to stay. Take care not to make me enter. If I do, we may both disappear. This idea of if I approach you and I cross this gap, we're gonna both disappear. who am I to strike you down, right? Pushing and shoving me. You still love me, but you didn't need to push it on me. You still love me, but you didn't need to push it on me. And then even in the second verse, rest your trigger on my finger. Interesting way to word that. Instead of saying the finger is on the trigger, rest your trigger on my finger, right? So it's not saying your finger's on the trigger, right? You're attacking me, shooting me, but rest your trigger on my finger. A passive way of saying it versus the active way. Still an active activity going on here, but just a very interesting way to word that. Bang my head upon the fault line. You'd better take care not to make me enter, because if I do, we both may disappear. So I thought maybe this is some toxic relationship, some domestic violence going on, right? Where one is saying, you're pushing and shoving me. I don't want this. There's this gap between us. I'm somewhere where I don't want to be. Seeing someplace I don't want to see. Never want to see that place again. And I felt an understanding personally when I read these things, having learned about some of these topics, having experienced several of these, and knowing that feeling, and even in the music that was reflected, knowing this feeling of despair. You love someone, they love you. And this mix between enabling, and life can be complicated, and sometimes there's this mix, and it's hard to separate which is which, right? How many percent is this, how many percent is that, how much of it is love, how much of it is enabling or codependency, how much do we engage in some of these things, be it toxic traits, be it toxic relationships, be it bad habits, because we have identified ourselves with it, right? Sometimes people have a hard time getting out of it, an abusive relationship, not because they oh my goodness, they love to be hurt, or they love the way the other lies, the way that Rihanna would say, but it's because sometimes our identity becomes so based on and ingrained in how other people are treating us, and we love this person, or sometimes we think we love them, and we're enabling because we're afraid of the alternative. We're afraid of what happens if we try to leave. We're afraid of who we are with or without them. Sometimes our identity becomes so encompassed, engulfed in suffering, right? Where even when you're in a healthy relationship, if you don't deal with some of that past trauma, you're going to bring that back in, and you're going to self-sabotage situations to create a toxic environment, because that's all you're used to. That's all you think you deserve, or that's how you think it works. And so those were all the thoughts going through my mind, right? Is this some type of relationship where it's saying, I'm staring down that hole again, hands on my back again, survival my only friend, which also to me made me think of mental and emotional abuse. When you feel like you're going crazy and you're questioning everything and everyone, maybe because you've experienced abuse before and now you're seeing it where it might not even be, or it is present in your life in the present. And there's all kinds of things. Again, some of these words are thrown around a lot, and I don't like that, but we live in a world where there are clinical, narcissists. There are official personality disorders. Now, personally, I don't believe they're as prevalent as the world would let us believe. We all have traits of personality disorders and things we need to work on and grow, but official personality disorders, official mental disorders, those need to be diagnosed properly, and they're, to me, I feel, not as common as the internet would have you believe, right? Because we live in a world where you can see one reel after the other where everybody and their mother is telling you what it's like to be with a narcissist, or what it's like to be gaslitten. And is that a word? To be gaslitten? When somebody gaslights you? And so I think the problem with that then is that we see that everywhere else. And sometimes it may really be happening, but sometimes it may also not, right? Say somebody does something that seems arrogant. It could be from a place of arrogance. It could be that I'm projecting my insecurities, and now I think they're arrogant, though they may just be confident. And now I perceive that as arrogance, and then they maybe say something that fits into that checklist that I just read on Instagram, and now I'm going to say they're a narcissist, right? So that's tricky. When people have access to information, which makes me think of Disturbed and the song Sound of Silence, when there's this god of neon, right? There's this access to the news and the phones and the media and the television. And while we all have traits that are not healthy, things we need to work on, there are actually toxic relationships out there, abusive relationships. And so there's this, it's tricky sometimes how much is of what is which, right? Unless somebody's been officially diagnosed by a professional. And I think even in these lyrics, we can really see the dynamics of that, if that is one way to interpret this. I see these dynamics in the lyrics and how they progress, and even in the music and how it progressed, going from somber and some of those minor chords and him singing slowly, right? He would sing a verse and then there was instrumentation and then it was another verse. It wasn't back to back to back. It stretched out. But then there were moments where it picked up and it got faster, or it became more intense, or he sang his verses more or he sang the verses in shorter intervals. And even that, from an emotional standpoint, reminded me of some of those feelings of despair when you are in abuse and you are pushed and pulled physically, mentally, psychologically, and there's these dynamics between anger and frustration, between somber desperation and defeat, where you get to a point of grief, right? When someone's messing with you mentally, be it, again, not throwing that word around easily, but literally, genuinely gaslighting, playing with your emotions, making you believe what you feel is not real, or physically even pushing and pulling. There's this desperation, these moments of complete defeat, staring down that hole, hands on my back, survival is my only friend. This idea of where can I turn to? And then again, it switches back to that intensity, that anger, right? Because our emotions are fluid. We go from anger and fight, flight, or freeze mode back to just complete defeat, trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Is this person really doing this to me? Is this really happening? Aren't who they said they aren't who they said they were. They aren't who they said they were. They didn't do what they promised. Just complete mind boggle. And emotionally, there's so much going on dynamically from personal experience, but I feel like even when we look at just human psychology, we see that, right? When it comes to grief, when it comes to unhealthy relationships, and when it comes to addiction, because my interpretations right now are also just possibilities. Another way to look at this would be, again, more through the substance, because even the part where it says, what is this but my reflection? Who am I to judge or strike you down? That to me makes me wonder, is this not so much somebody else, but this battle internally? Because it's the own reflection, right? You're dealing with all these things inside. You look in the mirror and you go, this is me. And this push and pull, or even towards the end when he says, I'm staring down the hole again, survival my only friend, terrified of what may come. Remember, I'll always love you as I claw your effing throat away. It will end no other way. Makes me wonder, does this ending imply the only way out is death, or is the only way out violently removing this person from you or yourself? It's just really, I don't know what they meant by it. I like to know from you guys, if you know this song, if you know the band, what it's about, what it means to you. But I feel, just as someone who doesn't know much about this, there's so many ways to interpret that. And that makes for a good song, in my opinion, and good songwriting. Emotionally, though, I see those dynamics and those it's almost like a ride, even the way that they did this musically. The way he sung, again, those minor notes, that slow singing, just more soft and very alternative vibe, very progressive, then going into more of the anger and the screaming and more fast-paced, the electric guitar and the various solos that they did there, the rhythm and the way that it transitioned. It really was this mix between a musical and an emotional ride. Very interesting. I feel like I'm sure that I'm missing things. So I really would like to know from you guys what you hear here and what this song means to you, what you know about the band and the song. But I think it was interesting to explore this as I'm getting to know this band, Tool. All right, you guys, this was another episode of Rosalie. Thank you for stopping by. If you want to buy me a coffee or maybe make a song suggestion and jump the line, check out buymeacoffee.com. The links are in the description below. I have merch out. There are ways to support me on Patreon, all kinds of ways to connect. So check the links below. Thank you for watching, you guys. This was Rosalie Reacts. Till next time, heyo!